Okay, friends, this is Dan Bouchard Fernandez with Remax Distinctive again. We are now going to talk about Skyslope forms and using Docusign with your signature packages. So again, we're going to go to skyslope.com and log in into the Skyslope suite. We'll go ahead and plug in our username, password, and we will go into forms. And then we will go in here to our settings and our preferences. And here we're going to change it from Docusign as we showed you in the last video. And here we're going to change it to Docusign and we're going to save it. I happen to have a Docusign account, and so we are saving that. And so now we're going to go into the files and try to create a file from Docusign. So let's create a new file. Let's say that this is a seller. And let's go ahead and call this, let's call this Luis Lopez, and let's call this PIN at yahoo.com. Again, this is just my sample, um, email address that I use for demonstration purposes. And let's go ahead and plug in 123 Main Street. And let's go ahead and call it Annapolis, Maryland. Let's go ahead and call this actually Prince George's County, just for, because I don't have the Anne Arundel County forms. We'll plug that in there. We'll create the file. All right, add forms. That didn't work. We will go ahead and pull the forms from the library that we want to pull it from. So let's go ahead and say we will pull it from the Maryland Realtors Library. And let's just go ahead and pull up listing. Exclusive right to sell, brokerage, residential agreement. We've got that. Boom. Let's add it. We also need to add a couple of other forms. And let's go ahead and include a dual agency seller. This is a required form in Maryland whenever we're going to list properties. And so we're going to select those. We're just going to use those two as a demonstration. And let's add forms. Consent. For some reason, my consent for dual agency didn't get added. Add it. Next. There we go. Okay, we will select all forms, and then we will go ahead and open them up. It will prompt us for our fields that we will go ahead and fill in. Again, we're just going to run through this and answer the questions, and just like we normally would. And once we've answered everything up, we'll go ahead and prepare for signature. We'll confirm who is doing what in the transaction. Let's go ahead and say that I need to sign the document as well. We'll go ahead and assign it. It'll bring me to Docusign. I'll log into my Docusign. Docusign wants to use my biometrics. Checking my camera, making sure it's me. And I'm going to allow Skyslope access. And it's going to think for a minute. Please wait while it'll just be a moment. All right. So the beauty of Docusign is that there's all of these other functionality pieces in Docusign. This is why I like Docusign over Digisign or Authentisign and other formats as well. There's so many tools that you can do. You can use the signature block that'll plug in and install it there. You've also got the assigned person here that you can go ahead and assign initials for. You've got the date of signature. You can always plug just like the others do. You've got the name of the person. Let's say that we are doing this. We're going to insert a name of a person over here. Let's go ahead and insert Remax distinctive over, and we'll talk about put Remax distinctive here. We'll go ahead and put my title here. Let's go ahead and say that if I had a title, that would be here. We also have the ability to go ahead and plug text. We also have the ability to insert a specific number. For example, if we wanted to go ahead and insert phone numbers. We have the ability to go ahead and install check marks and add multiple check marks, and as many as we needed to. And by doing this, we can go ahead and say that I am going to be the one filling in these check marks. I can automatically populate those check marks now before sending it for signature, or I can leave it to be prompted at the signature field once the package is sent to myself. Similarly, if I go back and if I send this document to Luis Lopez and I put in check boxes for him, I can go ahead and do the same thing here. I can add multiple checkboxes. I can pre-populate it, and he can then confirm that check mark or not confirm it if it needs to be different. So if you populate the check in the checkbox field for him, he will receive it, and it will remain that way unless he manually changes it and removes it. So that's kind of where that is. If you wanted to do a drop-down menu, there is the ability to do drop-down menus, and you can structure that using this field, these options here. I'm not going to go ahead and cover that. You can explore that on your own. One of the really nice features about Docusign is the radio button, and I love the radio button, and this is particularly useful for things like the inclusions, exclusions addenda, and where you're answering questions yes or no, something is or is not included. So, for example, if I wanted to go ahead and say that if I had a question that said here, refrigerator, and I wanted the recipient, Luis Lopez, to acknowledge yes, there is a refrigerator, or no, there isn't a refrigerator. The radio button only allows one answer. It's either the yes or the no box. It cannot allow all of the boxes. The difference between that and the checkbox is that the checkbox does allow all of the boxes to be checked. So that does allow that option, whereas the radio button, it's one or the other. And that can be useful when you're filling out templates for things like the inclusions, exclusions addenda, or for things, other documents that have a lot of yes/no questions on them. I find that to be extremely useful for templates. But anyhow, that's kind of where that is. If I wanted to go ahead and attach an attachment to the document, I could go ahead and add that here. If I wanted to go ahead and add a note on this document for Luis Lopez to see, I could go ahead and do that. If I wanted to use the approval or decline feature, that Luis Lopez could approve or decline something, we could use that as well. Other fields that are available, these are part of the standard fields. We can create custom fields, and we won't cover that detail here right now, but just know that there's a lot of creative custom fields that you can create and let that really populate and really help you with your business. Another option are some pre-filled tools. You can insert gray text. So this would be something that would be that you as the agent would go ahead and populate, and you'd go ahead and fill this out and say, okay, yada, yada, yada. Here's what I want to add here. This is going to be populated on the document, but it's not going to be assigned to Luis Lopez or myself to fill out. It's just simply going to be a gray field that will be there, and nobody will do anything with it. It's just going to be there. Same thing goes with the checkbox. Same thing goes with the radio button and the name and the company. If you wanted to go ahead and cross out some text, here's an option for you to do that. You can see who that would be assigned to over here. If you wanted to change the color, you could pick a color difference here in what that appears like. If you wanted to create the thickness and increase the thickness of it, you could adjust that here. You could change the length of it to the number of characters. So it's only 41 characters instead of 487, 4187 or 418. So there's a lot of flexibility that you've got with Docusign. So let's say that this document is fully filled out. I now want to send it to one or more of the drop-down fields. Doesn't have any options. Okay, so that's asking me to go ahead and structure that, and I believe that is this one. And so let's delete this drop down because we haven't configured it. So now let's go ahead and send it to the parties. And we've gone and we've created that, and now it is now sent off to the parties, and we can now prepare for signature and receive that. So when we go to our emails, I now have received this email from Docusign, and it looks very similar to what we saw before. Again, we're going to continue on through it. Boom, boom. I'm going to go ahead and configure this. Yes, use the saved ID. Yes, let's go ahead and type something in here because that's what we're asking it to do. And we're doing something. We're going to go ahead and do something here. The broker is whatever. We're asking for a title here. So all of these features are nice little features that, oh, this is asking for a number. That's right. So let's put in a number. Okay, so now we've completed all the steps, and it is telling us that all we have to do is finish it. And now it will send us the entire document to ourselves. And then once we've done that, then we can go ahead and pull it up. So let's go ahead and do that. And now that's where in our Docusign folder, that document, and it will now live in our Docusign. That's how we do it. Feel free to give us a call if you have any questions on that.